Thank you. My name is Brandi Hoffman, and I'm a stand-up comic from Las Vegas. But I'm not here tonight to talk about comedy. In July, I was an engineer working for a company that treated me well, and I was doing what I loved. I had a wonderful boyfriend. I was living with my mom because she's in her 80s, and I was traveling during the week. I had even put down earnest money for a house. I was going to close on the house early in August. I picked out dishes, carpet, and a chicken coop. Life was good. Then I got laid off. They just didn't need me anymore. The house, gone. The chickens, gone. I wasn't so enamored with the carpet, but that was gone too. The reason why my company laid me off was that customers were unhappy with the software. In other words, I was an expert in something that nobody wanted. Ever since high school, I loved to write. I never had anything published because I was making bank as an engineer. Now that engineering was gone, maybe I could make a go of writing. I asked an important person at an important newspaper how I would go about making a living as a writer, assuming that I started from nothing and had a year to do it. He told me to write a feature for the Washington Post magazine. That would give me enough exposure to launch a writing career. What could I write about? How about this? I would take a year off from the engineering and focus all my energy on the world of stand-up comedy. I would document everything from the open mics to the first paid performance to the end where I'd do something important. I wasn't sure what. I didn't know enough about comedy yet to figure it out. I'd call it the year of living dangerously. I'd call it the year of laughing dangerously. At the end of the year, I'd have an experience and an article. So here I am. I'm into the third month of the year of laughing dangerously. I write my own material. I go to open mics and tell jokes. And I'm still learning how to write a punchline. That may take a while. The year began on August 1st. Ever since coming up with this project, I spent all my time writing jokes. I had read the Comedy Bible twice. How hard could it be? And I was naturally funny. I had written funny books before that nobody had read. And I made my boyfriend laugh all of the time. My first open mic was at a coffee shop. There were 6 people inside. One was a barista. 2 were having a conversation, loudly. The fourth person was the MC. Another person was busy writing in his notebook and waiting for his stage time. And then there was me, number 6, the complete newbie, just the 6 of us. I memorized all my jokes, but also put them in my phone just in case. When it was my turn, I froze, despite the paltry audience. The couple in the back were still talking. The MC was getting a drink from the barista, and the other person was writing in his notebook. But I still froze. I couldn't remember a thing. I broke out my phone only to learn that the writing was too small. I couldn't read a thing. In a panic, I blurted out all of my punchlines in under 10 seconds. I turned beet red, and I sat down wanting to die. The MC took his time getting his drink, so I felt like all eyes were on me. They weren't. In fact, nobody noticed that the stage was empty until the MC saw me hyperventilating at one of the tables. He said, "Give it up for Brittany." My name is Brandi. Despite my utter failure, I couldn't wait to get back on stage and do a better job. I hired a comedy coach, and we worked together to create a routine. He very politely pointed out that I took forever to get to the punchline, and then never had a punchline. We worked on that. His shtick was loud and funny. Together we came up with a routine where I was loud and funny. Well, kind of. The next time I went on stage, I was more prepared. I had some jokes with some real punchlines. Well, kind of. It was more like I had some stories that I thought were amusing that I told poorly. The audience was bigger though, maybe 10 people. All of them beginning and intermediate stand-up comedy people waiting for their turn to go on stage. While they were waiting, the other comics sat in the back of the room in a big circle, talking with each other and smoking something. Marijuana is legal in Nevada. I was part of the Nancy Reagan just say no generation, so pot had just no appeal for me. Yay, Nancy, you done good. So I sat in the very front, away from the noxious fumes. When it was my turn, I remembered most of my set this time. I remembered to tell both the premises and the punchlines. I thought I had told some very funny jokes. The only sound I heard afterwards was from the street traffic, but I thought I was funny. I was stoked. I did what I set out to do. When I got back to my seat, I reached for my phone to brag to my coach, my boyfriend, and my mom. That's when I saw it. My mother had sent me a 2-inch text. 2 inches. That's a lot of words. Bitching that I left the frying pan to soak. I think there was a half an onion on the counter too. Not that it matters. I must regress. I was living at home with my mother at 50 years old. I know that this makes me sound like a complete loser. It's not as bad as it sounds. It was a mutually beneficial relationship. When I was working, I was traveling from Monday through Friday, so it didn't make any sense to have a place of my own. We shared cooking duties, hence the frying pan, and I paid rent. I could also reach the top shelf in the pantry cabinet. We had a lot of fun getting to know each other. I liked living with her. So seeing that the text with the 100 words about how horrible I was because I left the pan to soak was like her stomping on my head. But I persisted. I kept going to open mics and doing my thing. My thing was getting better and starting to reflect me more than my coach. Then I added more material. I was getting into a groove. And actually, this is probably where I should stop because I was given the sign. Anyway, thank you. I'm Brandi Hoffman.